Hey, good morning, guys. Hector here again, Corpus Christi, episode 7. So we're going to be talking about scribing portion of the Miracle Morning, which is also journaling. And I want to share with you just a couple of ideas on journaling and why you should journal, why I never journaled before, and why I do journal now, and why I feel it's important for success and improvement. So really quick, I just want to read a little passage here from the book on scribing. It says, whatever it is that you write down, putting it into words on page is a form of therapy that doesn't cost a dime. So many of us and many of our friends and family struggle with certain personal things, right, that we usually have to seek therapy out. And for some it's, is needed. I'm not going to say that no one needs therapy, but, something as simple as journaling can really kind of like help to get your thoughts and just get your thoughts down on paper to really start to help to improve yourself, right? So I want to share with you, and there's several different ways to journal. I'm just going to share with you how I journal. I do both digital, and I also do a manual journal where I write. So you want to definitely find something that works for you, something that you know that is repeatable. But I'm actually going to really start focusing more myself towards manually writing in my journal more versus digital. We live in a digital world now, and I know it's more convenient to pull out your phone, etc. But there is something magical. There is something magical about actually physically writing down the words on a piece of paper, and then reading that out to yourself. So during the journaling portion, there's several different things that this journal will enable you to do. It's going to enable you to see different insights, different ideas, breakthroughs, realizations, successes, lessons learned. You're going to learn and grow from this journal so much. I've learned so much over the last year and a half or so that I've done it. I've never journaled in my entire life, and I've seen many successful people that keep a journal. They always talk about journaling, writing their thoughts down. Here's another pretty powerful quote here. It says, ideas come from anywhere and at any time. The problem with making mental notes is that ink fades very rapidly. Wow. My wife tells me, again, my wife, she's always right, guys, wives are always right no matter how much we want to think that we know it all. My wife would always tell me, hey, anytime you get an idea, you need to write it down. And I was like, yeah. At the end of the day, listening to her has really helped improve myself. So guys, put away the ego. Sometimes we got to suck it up and agree with the wife and listen, because they know what's best, okay? So, anytime I had an idea, she's like, you got to write it down. And so I would. And then there would be times when I came across that note like years later, and I'm like, oh, wow, I completely forgot about that. So whenever we keep a mental note, like that quote said, anytime we keep a mental note, that ink fades very quickly. So definitely, anytime you get some kind of idea, just write it down. Whether you take action on that idea or not, just write it down, and you never know what may come of it. So, like I mentioned, there are several different ways that you can journal. I keep a digital journal, and what I do during that journal is I actually write a letter to myself from my future self, 10 years out. And I talk to myself, currently, where I want to be in life, where I want to be physically, spiritually, financially. I talk to myself from 10 years out as if I already have it. Okay, so during the affirmations portion of my morning practice, I go through and I write down my goals. So these are like 10x goals. These are crazy goals that who knows if I'll even pursue them. Who knows if they'll even happen. That part doesn't really matter. What matters is that you just write them down. And then on the journal portion, I write down, I take that time and I write myself a letter to my, from my future self to my present self. And so, one thing he mentions here in the book that's, pretty interesting, he says, it's like when you write in your journal, it's like your present self talking to your, when you're looking back in your journal, it's like you're in your present, but you're looking back in your journal. So it's like you're traveling through time. You're going back in time, however, whatever entry it is that you're looking at, you're going back in time, and it's like you're your current present self, but you're also your future self looking back at the past. Really, really, really interesting concept that he mentioned inside the book. And so I was going to share with you my journal. So here's one of them. This is actually my training journal. This is something I've had this one for 4 years, going on 4 years. I think this June will be 4 years, and this is an actual training log. This is something that I write in for my training sessions. I write down specific things, what exactly it is that I'm going to be, what program I'm going to be going through, and then on the side I leave space to make. I leave space to make commentary. I talk about, how, I date the entry, and as I mark off the lifts and the sessions, I make a commentary of how that session felt. How did it go? Did I make all the lifts? What was going through my mind? Or did I have a stressful day? Like, what was going on that I had a successful lifting session, and what was going on if I had a poor lifting session. So this is from February of last year, February the 8th, and it says good pulls today. Wedge felt strong on the last set at 160 kilograms. February the 10th, great session. Took my time, stayed patient in the wedge. Lifts were much easier. February the 12th, pulled 190 kilograms, the fastest ever. 4 reps for 2 sets were really quick. However, after 210, 190 kilograms was really tough. Still a great session though. 3 weeks down to go. 3 weeks to go. So this was when I was prepping for the TSC a year ago. And so again, guys, this is just something to reflect on. This is commentary here from February the 14th of 2016. So I did my lifts here, okay, and then I journal and I write down commentary on how that lift went. So for instance, here's a commentary on my training session for February the 14th of last year. So I decided to pull earlier this morning at 9:30 versus 11. Not sure if that had any impact, but today it was very challenging. I had a small twinge in my left hip as I would extend the lockout. Very weird. Yeah, I remember that. I don't know what it was, but there was like, there was like a good 3 or 4 training sessions where like my hips, I don't know if they were fatigued or it felt kind of uncomfortable to lock out one of my deadlifts, well, all of my deadlifts. And so I'm not dealing with that now. I don't have that problem right now. So it's definitely really interesting. It's actually pretty cool. I just read that passage for the first time today. So this is a training journal, and this is something that I write down manually, and I make sure that I put notes and I comment on each one of those. So this is something I would encourage you to do. If you aren't keeping a journal, I'd recommend some kind of training journal so you can write down notes, thoughts, experiences, insights, and I'd also recommend you can even keep a nutrition journal. So if you're struggling with getting to a target weight, whether you're trying to lose weight or gain weight, for, guys trying to put on muscle, ladies trying to lose body fat to fit into a specific clothing. So if you're struggling with fitting into something or gaining that weight, guys, I highly recommend start writing down the foods that you're consuming. You don't have to get crazy detailed in the beginning and write down specific, like how many calories, how many grams of protein. You don't have to get crazy with those kind of details in the beginning. Just write down the foods of what you're consuming every single day. Monday, what foods you're consuming in the morning, midday, afternoon. Are you snacking? What is it that you're doing? That way, when you go back and after a week or 2 weeks, go back and look at those previous entries from the week before, and you can see Like, wow, I didn't realize I was eating so much stuff. And don't think about, so here's the thing, don't think about what it is that you're writing down. Just write it down, okay? Don't think about what you're writing. Just get pen to paper and then just start writing. So with your food journal, if you, whatever it is that you eat, let's say right now you had a protein shake, get your journal out, write that down, protein shake at this time, and kind of say like, how are you feeling? Like kind of like some commentary on how you're feeling about that. What, was it a success? Was it a challenge? And then an hour later, like, oh man, I ate 4 donuts because someone brought donuts in. So like, write that down. I ate 4 donuts, and then leave commentary on it. And so don't think about it. Just, just kind of mindlessly, just write it down. And then like in 2 weeks, go look back, right? You're your present self. Go back to the past from the future and see, what did you eat? How much of it did you eat? How did it make you feel before and after? So it'll definitely start to change your future choices, and it'll definitely give you better insight of what to do and what not to do. That's something I would highly recommend you do during a nutrition journal. And there's several other different types of journals, but pretty basic. Get yourself a plain Jane spiral notebook. This is a composition notebook. I've had this one for going on 4 years now, and just start writing down. It doesn't matter what it is that you're writing. Just write down. Get your pen to paper. Thoughts, insights, reflection, gratitude, and just start to write down. Okay, that's all I've got for you guys today. Pretty simple. That's the journaling portion of my morning practice that I do every day. If you're just joining us, I highly recommend. This is the book that I'm covering right now by Hal Elrod. This is something that that I've been practicing for the last year and a half, and I write in this thing. I make notes, I highlight, I make notes in the margins of why I highlighted it. That way, I've read this book like maybe 2 or 3 times, like from cover to cover, but sometimes I don't, you don't plan on rereading it all the way. So just go through and highlight specific parts and make notes. That way you can just kind of skim through and see some of the highlighted stuff that you wrote down, and kind of just go through that and reflect on that, So that's pretty much it. That's all I got for you guys today. Journal portion of the Miracle Morning. Have a great day, guys. Oh, quick thing. If you're enjoying these videos, and I think there's a button on the bottom right that says be notified when I go live again. So if you're enjoying these videos, please turn on the notifications. That way you can be notified of my next episode. So that's all I got for you guys today. Have a great day. Rock it out. Bye.